My name is Gideon Albert James. I was born in February 1939. My dad, he's from Birch Creek, Isaiah James. And my mom came from here, Arctic Village. And her name is Martha Tritt. Used to be Tritt before she got married. Birch Creek is Tlitay because there are a lot of willows around that river. You hardly see any timber. I hear that first 3 or 4 years they live in Birch Creek. They had 3 or 4 kids before they moved back up this way in Arctic Village. Wasrinko. That's the name of it. It referred to that creek out there. It come off there's about 3 lakes up there, and it has bank on both sides. That's what Wasrain means, bank. Oh means that slough and creek. Couple of my memory is that I remember being in muskrat camp upriver from here, and I remember most of the time I was with my grandfather, Albert Tritt. I remember that first time I was able to shoot my own muskrat. Usually the stream will go lake to lake, so these muskrats, when they break up time, they tend to swim on that on the creek. All we had to do was sit by the bank along the creek to get our muskrat. After summer migration of a caribou, and they put away a lot of that meat, and then they go over to the Shinjuk River, and this is where they go for trapping in the fall time. One of the memory I had was that when dog packing, they walking along, and sometimes I hang on to their tail. A lot of us did that. A lot of us smaller. That's how we kept up with the people that moving. You know, in the springtime, there's a lot of ducks, and these women, they were really careful about picking up, saving feathers. They save lots. That's what they make their blanket out of. A lot of times they make parka out of it too. So those are much warmer than sleeping bags. A lot of family back in those days, they got very good sized tent, like us, the whole family, when you sleep in there. One dog can pack it, you roll it in the right way, you tie the stove on top of it. That's what one dog carry that. They have leaders. They have one main leaders or two main leaders. And those leaders, they have good memory. And they go one way and they remember it. Like even in the winter time, when it's stormy, when you go over the mountain and the wind will blow over your trail, and you can't see that trail when you come back, but that leader can do it. Yeah, I seen it. I seen a leader do that. At those times, few noises, few foreign noises like motor and stuff like that. And animals are wild, and you have to know. You have to know the wind direction, and you have to keep your noise down when you sneak up to animal. That there's certain ways that you have to do in the trot line. My dad, sometimes the snow is deep, but he snowshoed through. He was good at shot. He never missed. He shoot one time, you get one. A lot of people are like that. It's not only him. And I remember they built fire for lunch, and the first thing they do, I remember, do to us was that they give us tea, something to drink. The first one they do, they melt snow or something. That's where I got my education. That's where I have no fear that we can do it. You know, I don't depend on anybody to show me what to do, but I follow my dad, I follow my grandfather, and I watch him do it, and I do it when I got big enough. They make their own gun case, they make their own snowshoe, they make their own sled, they make their own fish trap, they make their own fish wheel, and all that. They make everything they need, they make them. A lot of knowledge. You have to respect that. Heroes. Those people are heroes in our books. All of you guys have heroes in your village. My dad, one of the things that he did was that work on outboard motor, and one of the things that inspired me is that when I get opportunity, I want to be able to learn the mechanics of that. I want to be able to help him. So when I was up around 7 years old, they had teacher here. That was a native teacher, and somehow they get books and stuff like that. But there's no building. But we didn't wait for anybody to build our school. We built it ourselves. My parents want me to graduate from high school, and that's when Mount Edgecombe, I went to school there. Some of my friends in Fort Yukon was there, and that helped me a lot. There were some upper class, like 11th or 12th grade, they would be able to get into National Guard. I enlisted in there. So then I graduated, and then I went home and spent time here in the Muscat camp. My mom and dad, they went up Junjik River to get sheep. So we went up there, and they built skin boat out of 2 moose that my dad shot. And then we float on the Junjik River. And then we ran into a bunch of caribou that was coming across. And they're all bull. And we end up taking about almost 20. It was on the gravel bar, and it was getting cold. There's an airplane came and landed near us. So my dad, he knew that guy. And lucky us, he was able to hold that meat back, and we floated the skin boat down. And then that was in the fall time. Then the snow came in December. I had a letter from Uncle Sam said that greeting. I got drafted. I had to report to Anchorage, Elmerdorf. I come into induction center about middle of the night, and I went to the day room, and I dozed out to sleep. And then I woke up, and I was wondering where the washroom was. So I went down the hall. Here comes the other guy from Fort Yukon, and he got drafted too. So he told me that they got you too. I said, yeah. The basic training was in California, Fort Hood, running and push-ups and stuff like that. We had to do. They scream at you right in your ear like that. They said I got no mom and dad, and the big sergeant said that he is my parents. I tell you when to eat, I tell you when to get up and stuff like that. Yeah. I didn't have to do nothing, they just tell me what to do. In 1962, that's when Cuban Missile Crisis happened. And the 1st Armored Division, that's where they got me stationed down in Texas. And the whole division, 15,000 troops, went to Florida and down the Miami Beach area. That was infantry in touch of a machine gunner because I was small. And the small people are the one that machine gunner. They're small targets. I was on that landing craft. That Miami Beach, there's not a soul on that beach, but landing craft, far as you can see. We were waiting, you know. They were directed the Navy ship to intercept Russian ship that carried the missile to Cuba. And if they didn't want to get searched, you tell them to sink them. But I tell you the truth, you have tomorrow plan and next day plan and all that. It's just nothing there. There's no more next day. And it happened that Russian ship that carried the missile, it turned around. It turned around, yeah. Everybody was celebrating. One thing is I experienced when I was during the military life is that we had a lot of black people in the group, and they were nice to me because I'm part Indian. I had a lot of friends in there. When we went to Miami Beach area, when that place was, when that ship turned around, everybody was celebrating. So we went downtown Miami to celebrate. And for the life of me, they won't serve them. I remember that. I still remember that today. That's why they tell you if you're fighting for freedom, that's book. I had a lot of friends in there. They won't serve them. At that time, there was a relocation program through the bureau, and I applied for. Remember, I told you about the inspiration I got from my dad. So I got accepted to go to mechanic school, but it's not a very good program. They dislocate the whole family sometimes, and they would get dropped off at the school, and they were left. They were left out in the street like that, you know. Yeah, I remember that. I remember it didn't help. It didn't help the Native people. It just divided them. A lot of us are in the age of drinking, and a lot of us turned to alcohol and just got left out there. There's a lot of tragedy that came along with that. Some of them people, they never make it home. They do sometimes make it home all right, but they make it home in a coffin. So, and that foreman told me that one day that I need to listen to him. And I got mad at him. I told him, when I was in service, the sergeant hollered in my ear, and I don't want to hear that no more. And the only people that I listen to is my mom and dad, and you're not my mom. You're not my dad, you're not my mom. He fired me. Well, he got me mad, you know. Then after that, I got the real job. I finally broke away from the bureau, and I was lucky that I went to work for one of the Jewish guy in Chicago, and I learned from that guy quite a bit, like how transmissions are put together and how you do repair, how you work on the brakes in the truck, in the overhaul engine. So when I came back from my dad died. You know, he had a heart attack, but I accomplished what I went out there for. You know. So today, you know, you see my toolbox over there. That thing is full of tools all the time, with tools all over. And we work on equipment, so we do maintenance on it. Then the pipeline, the roads start to be built. And I went to work for MK Construction as a cat operator and sometimes scraper. And we built that section south of Tulip, just this side of Adigan. Adigan is the pass. And then they had another section contract down close to Valdez. They wanted me to take me down there. I told them no. I gotta go home. And if I said yes, I wouldn't make a lot of money. But I made the right decision, because when I came back to work for Tribe, I made a lot of friends. Well, first I was an operator, run a cat, and clear the airport and work on the roads, and a lot of council work. Then I got appointed to identify Native allotments. What inspired me to work for the tribe is that I see what happened down Lower 48 to the relocation program. And the result of that is that a bunch of leaders across the nation got together and formed what they call AIM, American Indian Movement. They got a bunch of tribes together, they marched to Washington. They demand recognition. At that time, Congress had no intention of doing anything, but AIM people forced them to recognize the tribe through the Indian self-government. So that's where the 638 program came along, recognizing the tribe. Tribe would contract the services that the government been giving to them. They took it all over. Now they run it. And also, at the same time, 1971 and 72, my tribe appoint me to go to all the elders that they think would have important decision, either take part in a land claim or keep our land. During that time, we have to vote. And I tell you the truth, every elder that I went to want that land back. Want that land. And they voted that way, unanimously. And one of the things that's important is that land. Native people need land so they can get recognition, not to survive, but recognition. You know, when you talk about artwork, I see my dad or my grandfather carve on a birch and make snowshoe, and then my grandmother or my mom would weave it. It's something that a way of life. It's not something artistic. It's a way of life. In the native world, you know, there's a lot of comedy that's comic that happens through friendship and through different activity. Just like I lost my brother several years back. Him and another guy, they see moose up river, you know, from aircraft. So they got in the boat and they gas up and they went up. And on the way up, that guy, he was a village chief, John Titus. My brother gave him coffee and even dry meat and stuff like that while he was driving the boat. So they got there and they shot that moose, and it was getting fall time too. It was getting cold at night. And John, he was chief. And here, he forgot his sleeping bag. He didn't have no sleeping bag. And he got bonfire going. And my brother, you know, he got into his sleeping bag and said, well, both of us can't fit in this bag, you know. And John Titus said, I'm not going to sleep with you. Anyway, then there was a tarp. So I guess he crawled into a tarp and went to sleep. Then early in the morning, during the night, it get cold, you know, in fall time. And the tarp froze up on him. My brother said he stuck his head out there and here come John, come out of the tarp. He asked me, "Are you still a chief?" Jokes like that keep us happy out there a lot of times. Smile a lot. I got it. I inherited it from my mom, I guess. I have two kids, one girl and a boy. I have a lot of grandkids. Yeah, some of them stay with me, and I raised them. A couple of them, anyway. Our next generation leadership is here. I really encourage to respect their elders and their advice, and it's true that they talk about. It's true. You know, we have to respect each other, no matter what. Too many times, without doing that, our younger people get incarcerated. They're really good people. They could be used for the next generation. Yeah. Then other advice that I was going to mention is it's good that you go to college and get your degree and stuff like that, but you need to respect and understand the way of life for your people. No matter if you're college graduated, you still need to be native. And my brother said that one time, and I think it made sense that when you explain Indian power, is that people like that is the one that got Indian power. You understand the other side. That's what they call Indian power.